rough. It was rough. Forgive me in advance. Just in my low feelings right now, but forgive me. This one may be a little rough today, but I'm trying to get through this as best I can, and honestly as fast as I can, because I don't want to cry. But yeah, surviving the first month. Here are things that actually worked for me, and then at the same time, I don't even know if they work, but I'm here. So I guess they did. And actually I still do some of these things now to this day. So some of them absolutely work, but yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So welcome back. If this is your first time checking me out, welcome. I appreciate you stopping by. Hopefully you will gain some knowledge and insight into grief, what it looks like, what it can be, and how to move through it. If you have been here before, welcome back. I appreciate you being here and just, tuning in to check me out. So let's just get into it. The first month after losing my baby, I will honestly say though, it was really I was in a brain fog probably for about the first 3 months. That's just honestly the best way to describe it. You just kind of in this shock, like, what in the world is happening? What is going on? This can't be real. Something's wrong. Am I going crazy right now? Am I living in an alternate reality? Like, what the hell is going on? So I think though the first month, I don't even think I know. I slept a lot. And it was kind of the only way I was able to get through my days is sleep, honestly. Because for the most part, I was sick. I was sick to my stomach. I had knots. I was physically sick. I had knots in my stomach, headaches, nauseous. Don't even get me started on anxiety and panic attacks. I honestly don't know, and that's why I say it really was a lot of brain fog. I was moving through my day, but I just felt like I was here, but I really wasn't here, It's really hard to explain unless you go through, but you really just feel like you're living in an alternate world, like this isn't real. Going to sleep is how I really coped my first month. It's really crazy. I didn't know what else to do, outside of, I don't even know. I don't know. All I know is that I mostly slept. That's honestly what I did. I think though, as the days went on, and it was just sleep and cry. That's pretty much it, My family was here, and so I was grateful for that. That's who really kind of took care of my son, my 11-year-old. But that's pretty much, so he was well distracted by all the kids that were here. But for me, I was just in my room, just sleeping and crying. I wasn't eating. I wasn't doing much of anything. I just felt like this is not real, How I made it through that sanely, I don't know still to this day. I really don't know. Some days I don't even know how I make it through the day. But that's another side note. But yes, sleep. And I don't see nothing wrong with sleeping, okay? I just feel like my grief coach told me, your body needs time to catch up to what has happened. Your mind needs time to catch up. And, you know, it just needs time to catch up. It's not able, because at least for me, I wasn't able to process, you know, everything that's happening from the morning that, you know, he died. It was just a whirlwind. And even like trying to get outside to do different things, like, you know, get my son ready, or not even get, because like I wasn't doing really nothing. I would just get out the house to try to get out the house, to try to get some air, some sunlight or something. But even going outside the house, it's like I knew that I was like, okay, y'all, I gotta go lay down. I gotta go lay down. It's time for me to go to sleep. It's time for me to take a nap. I'm getting overwhelmed. I'm getting overstimulated. It's time for me to go lay down. So they would just bring me back to the house, and I would just go to sleep. But sleep absolutely helped me. It gave me, you know, time to, I feel like it gave my mind time to relax, to rejuvenate, to turn off, to just take a break from reality. And I feel like it sheltered me a lot in that first month. And so yes, I would absolutely, that's one thing that I will say is how I really survived the first month. The second way I survived the first month, as the day started to, you know, go on and the week started to go on, I started reading a lot. I was on Amazon looking for any book I could find. Like my first week, actually, I was on Amazon. I was like, somebody has to tell me something, like, and so I was just on Amazon searching. I ordered probably about 20 child loss books, or 20 books about moms have wrote about child loss and their grief journey. And every night I read for about 3 or 4 months straight. And then it kind of started teetering off. I feel like as my mind started catching up to reality, and the tears, they never stopped, but they started to slow, and I was able to process better. And I think reading too really helped me tremendously, because it showed me that other moms got through this. Somehow, some way they got through, and that it really gave me hope. Hope is really what honestly got me through too, is reading other women's stories, reading other moms' stories, and just seeing like, and some of these moms just like, what, like how, like, oh my God, it's like, wow, like, you know, and in those moments, which is crazy, you find things to be grateful for. But yeah, reading a lot. I read a lot of books. I bought journals. I wrote a lot. And like I said, it was honestly hope. Those stories, those women, their lives and loss really gave me hope to keep pushing forward, especially with my oldest son. The other thing too was I found my grief coach. Highly recommend that you find a grief coach. And I not only chose a grief coach, I chose a child loss mom grief coach. It just had to be somebody who experienced what I'm experiencing right now, or you won't be able to tell me what to do, or you won't be able to really help me. And not to say I won't take you serious, but until you've experienced this pain, you can't help me. I need somebody who's done this, who's done the work, who's gotten through, and I literally wrote the book about it. And so I searched high and low for her. I saw her probably about twice a week for probably about 3 months. I still see her every now and again, but like I said, I feel like, you know, as time goes on, as your brain starts to catch up with reality, you know, you start to not be okay, but you start to find ways that have helped you to continue to move forward. And she was one of those things, my grief coach. She's taught me about thought dumping, journaling, your thoughts out, anxiety exercises to do, mindfulness exercises to do, She's even helped with my son, giving me resources for him and activities for him and us to do together. She's just been amazing. So yes, my grief coach, that was another way I was able to survive my first month. Another way I was able to survive my first month was I joined a few Facebook groups. Just because I was still in the process of trying to find a support group that was local, I joined a few Facebook groups. I keep saying that I'm gonna make another video about, Facebook groups and stuff, but I don't know, maybe I'll talk about it right now. I would just be cautious when you are trying to join these groups, because there's a lot of trigger warnings in those groups. It's a lot of rawness, it's a lot of pain. Understandably, there's a lot of trauma. You just are exposed to a lot, and I wouldn't recommend those groups, especially in the first month, because it kind of is like, golly, so there is no hope. Like, nobody's okay. Like, we're all just gonna be miserable. Like, there is nobody. I mean, like, wow, so I have to look forward to a life of misery. Like, it's basically what y'all are saying. Like, there ain't no way. And and that's why I say, obviously there's hundreds of Facebook groups, and that's why I say be careful on the one that you decide to join, because like I told my grief coach, on one hand, these stories and these moms help you because you don't feel alone anymore. And so I would stay in these groups like all day long, just reading these stories, consuming this information, consuming this trauma, consuming, this bad energy essentially. And I would spend hours, in these groups trying to find a mom who specifically lost a 5-year-old. That was me. I want to find somebody who's like me. What is she doing? Where is she? How is she getting through? What is she doing? Like, I need to see her. And so but through trying to find her one or two selves, I'm reading everybody else's trauma. And it's like I told my grief coach, on one hand, you don't feel alone anymore, but on the second hand, all hope is lost. And so it's like you want to look away, but you can't, because you don't want to feel alone, but then you don't want to feel hopeless. And so it's like, what do? And that is when balance comes in. I literally left like 2 or 3 groups because I was like, this is just too much. Like, there is no way. Like, and then as I continued through grief coaching and reading and seeing other mom stories and listening to podcasts, another way I got through my first one, listening to podcasts and other women talk about hope, and I'm like, okay, so there is hope. Let me get out of these people group, okay? Y'all want to be stuck. And I'm like, even, which is crazy, which is sad too though, like even the women who would post positive things, they get talked about. Like, you mad because you're upset because she's found a way forward. What? Like, and that's when you realize, okay, y'all want to be stuck. A lot of you want to be stuck. And I was just determined, obviously not everybody in there, me for one. But you realize you have to consume some of this stuff in small doses, and that, again, every Facebook group is just not it, okay? But there's another group that I'm in who I found, her name is Julie Clough. Her story, just a moment for her, but she's been amazing. Her podcast is how I got through my first couple of months as well. But through her podcast, I learned about her Facebook group, and her Facebook group is where you should be, okay? She is where you should be. Hope. And if she can survive child loss, there is hope, honey buns. Okay? So like I said, stay out of them crazy Facebook groups, okay? Find you a positive one who with moms who are trying to move forward into this life, okay? But like I said, I know in the beginning you're just desperate. You're desperate to find people like you, and that's okay. But as time goes and moves along, you will start to back out of those groups and delete them once you find the ones that work for you. But yes, and so, which will bring me into my other way of how I got through her podcast. Listening to her story, listening to her talk, she gives tips and insight and helpful things to do and changing your mindset and your thoughts. And she's just amazing. She was amazing. I love her group. She interacts like every month. She does like this pull a card thing. And I think it's just like intuitive. I don't know, but it's always spot on for me, okay? So I enjoyed that one. But yes, her podcast really. But I think that's pretty much it, you know, and I'll share their information below too. But those are honestly the main ways that I got through my first month. Through all the brain fog, because I don't even think the brain fog lifted until about 3 or 4 months. It started to lift. But yes, in the first couple of months, it was reading, it was sleeping 90% of the time. Then after sleeping, it was reading. Then after reading, it was journaling. And then after journaling, it was my grief coach. And then after her, it was podcasts. And like I said, support groups. Which I highly recommend all of them, because in the beginning, you will search, you will look high and low. Somebody got to tell you something. I get it. And as you continue to look, you will find that there is hope, that moms have survived. We're still trying on a daily basis. And it's just something you have to work at every day. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm here for. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy this video. You were able to get some insight on surviving, you know, the first month. My prayers are with you. Like I said, I will leave some of those resources below. And as always, if you know any moms, please share my video or connect me with them. I would greatly appreciate it. And share any resources you have that may have worked for you. I would honestly appreciate it. And yeah, until next time, send you virtual hugs and love.